Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Former Antigua and Barbuda leader says saying goodbye to politics after 41 years. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, December 13. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Former Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Celeste Bird is bowing out of the political arena. He will step down as MP for St. John's Rural East at the end of his current term. The 79-year-old Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party politician made the announcement in Parliament on Tuesday. And Celeste said, inasmuch as his brain has much to contribute, age has taken its toll on his physical capacity.
It would be unfair to impose upon the readiness of the people of Rural East to maintain me as their representative. The time has come for younger legs and more agile hands. That is why I announced today in this honorable House that I will not seek re-election, and that at the end of this term, I will leave representative politics. Of course, I will remain available like Lee Kuan Yew to the nation of Antigua and Barbuda to offer any advice or counsel that might be sought. My knowledge and experience will always be available to the people of this land, from whom I have toiled with a deep sense of honor and joy.
Celeste, who will be 80 next February, also used the opportunity to endorse his niece, who is also Prime Minister Gaston Brown's wife, as the candidate for the constituency, which he represented for 41 years.
I do not intend to end my representation of the people of Rural East without ensuring that my successor is someone who I personally believe will be good for each of its residents, good for the constituency and good for the country. That is why I recommend to the people of St. John's Rural East, Maria Bird Brown. I do so not only because she's my niece, I do so because she has shown the humility and the compassion to be a people's representative. I do so because she has also shown a passion for Antigua and Barbuda's development and a resolve to lift up its young people to a higher level of accomplishment and advancement. I am convinced that she will care for the people of Rural East and will stand up with them and for them.
Following Celeste's announcement, Prime Minister Brown thanked him for his contribution to the socio-economic development of the Twin Island nation and called for a special sitting of the House to be convened to celebrate his achievements and contributions. Brown said, and he called for the naming of an appropriate monument in Celeste's honor in keeping with his status as one of the country's national heroes.
I have a recommendation, but I will hold it for the time being until I would have gotten a consensus from my cabinet colleagues, and the government will make that determination and advise the people of Antigua and Barbuda in due course. Celeste, we accept your offer to serve as our Lee Kuan Yew. You have significant institutional knowledge. Clearly, you are still in control of your faculties. And you have a significant amount of experience to share with us. So we would want to continue to have you serve as a senior minister, even in the next term. So again, I thank you very much, and I say to you, well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done, good and faithful servant.
A warning that the decision by the Parliament in Bermuda to roll back marriage rights for same-sex couples could hurt the island's tourism industry. It comes from CEO of the Bermuda Tourism Association, Kevin Dallas. The Domestic Partnerships Act, which aims to replace same-sex marriage with a domestic partnership arrangement, passed in the House last week and now has to go to the Senate for a vote. Dallas has written to senators pleading with them to vote against the legislation. He says LGBT travel accounts for $165 billion spent worldwide, and $65 billion of that is spent in the United States alone. And Dallas warns that if the bill is passed in the Senate, it could derail the 7 consecutive quarters of growth recorded by the tourism industry. But the BTA has distanced itself from Dallas's lobbying of senators to vote no to reversing marriage equality. It said in a statement that it is a non-political entity and decisions about Bermuda's policies and laws are outside of its remit and are the responsibility of Parliament. The BTA says it has full trust in Bermuda's elected and appointed officials to effectively carry out the democratic process on behalf of Bermuda's citizens. There is dissension in the trade union camp in Trinidad and Tobago over plans to increase the retirement age from 60 to 65. Last week, President of the National Trade Union Centre, Watson Duke, came out in opposition to any such move and insisted that the matter should be put to the public in a referendum. But on Wednesday, President General of the National Union of Government and Federated Workers, James Lambert, said he was in full support of the proposed increase. We get more in this report from CNC3 News.
Last week, a recommendation to change the retirement age was revealed during the 9th actuarial review of the National Insurance Board, and President of the National Trade Union Centre, NATUC, Watson Duke, said the increase in age should be put to a national referendum. At a media conference today, Mr. Lambert said he doesn't share the same view as his comrades.
I want to say categorically that NUGFW is in total support. I want to repeat, is in total support of the increase from 60 years to 65.
And that report was by Karen Cozier-Phillip of C News. Staying in Trinidad and Tobago, the opposition leader says the United Congress, the UNC, has no choice but to shoot down the controversial anti-gang bill so it could protect the population from government's abuse of power. Kamla Persad-Bissessar addressed supporters at a meeting in Debe where she charged that while the People's National Movement government is pointing fingers at the opposition, it had actually sabotaged its own legislation.
I go forward with a clear conscience. The opposition members who voted against it go forward with a clear conscience. And if anyone is to blame, I will blame Spin Doctor Rowley.
The tug-of-war for public opinion continued in Debe last night. Government and the opposition exchanging fire over the last week, trying to convince the public they were not to blame for the anti-gang bill floundering in Parliament. The opposition voted against the bill. UNC political leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar says the government voted against the bill too when the opposition tried to negotiate a 2-year sunset clause.
Why did you vote against the 2-year sunset clause? Why? If this bill you say is so important, why did you vote against your own bill? Why did you sabotage your own bill?
Mrs. Persad-Bissessar contends the government scuttled their own bill because they wanted an excuse to blame the opposition. She also defended the UNC's insistence on the 2-year period as a defense against government overreach.
We needed it because we could not allow this government the draconian powers and the potential for abuse of that law for any longer period of time.
Earlier in the evening, Orapooch East MP Dr. Rudal Munilal made a more detailed allegation about government abuse of power, citing an incident involving Minister Camille Robinson Regis.
She stand up in Parliament and reading search warrant as if she's a constable. And they're telling us we must give them more power so they can abuse power, so they can kick down your door and search your premises without a warrant.
Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Dominica is hantavirus free. Details of that story and more when we return. Do stay with us.
Welcome to the gem of the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda.
A warm welcome awaits you at our state-of-the-art VC Bird International Airport.
I must say that Antigua is in wonderful shape. 5 minutes off the boat and we're already in paradise.
Antigua was not that damaged by the storm as much as Barbuda was. The hotels are still open, the beaches are still clean, and the people are still friendly.
With Antigua, it's the people that really await you.
Hurricane Irma may have hit a little bit, but you can't even tell that it was ever here. The beach is wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Everything is just as we remember. No storm damage.
We're here and we're open.
And we're better than ever.
I do a lot of destination weddings, and I see weddings that could happen here, and they would be in love with it.
I can't say enough about how in love with Antigua I am.
It is one nation, two islands, and I'm loving it.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
The Center for Disease Control in the U.S. says there is no positive case of the hantavirus spread by rodents in hurricane-battered Dominica. Late last month, health authorities said they were awaiting confirmation of a preliminary test to determine whether the island had registered its first case of the unusual virus. Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Johnson said there had been no cases of the virus in the Caribbean in the recent past, and officials were able to confirm that there's currently no case in Dominica or the rest of the region. Jamaica's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Winston De La Haye, says a probe has begun into the deaths of 2 residents of the St. Thomas Infirmary in Morant Bay, a town in the southeast of the island. The 2 unidentified residents died within a 24-hour period sometime last week, and a 3rd person has since been hospitalized amid speculation that the deaths and sickness may have been as a result of a bacterial infection. Dr. De La Haye, speaking on local radio, said the focus is now on preventing a spread of any bacterial infections at the infirmary.
Since the start of the year, over 300 murders have been recorded in St. James. As a result, the police...
We apologize for that. Insert is coming just a bit too soon because we want to tell you now about Tourism Minister Dr. Edmund Bartlett, who does not believe that crime and violence are affecting the island's tourism product. And we will hear that now in this report from Shamila Mitchell of TVJ News.
Since the start of the year, over 300 murders have been recorded in St. James. As a result, the police high command has been having meetings and to devise strategies to stem the bloodshedding, including putting additional police personnel on the streets of the parish. Government Senator Charles Sinclair recently called for a state of emergency to help cauterize the situation. However, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett insists the crime is not impacting Montego Bay's tourism product.
Well, you know, Jamaica is a wonderful place for visitors. The level of hospitality that exists here is unmatched. And our people, it's something of a contradiction, if you will, because whilst there are domestic issues, it doesn't play out in the international field where our visitors are concerned. So our visitors are very safe and they feel safe.
Mr. Bartlett says that is not to say the tourism industry is not mindful of the crime situation. He says the sector has been doing its part to work with the Security Ministry to put measures in place to tackle the problem.
And one of the things that we have done is we have worked with this National Security Ministry to beef up the district constables. In fact, we have designated some to be focusing on the resort areas as well. We have collaborated with them in terms of equipment and in terms of infrastructure support.
As to whether or not a state of emergency should be declared in St. James, Mr. Bartlett says that is not his call. He says he will leave that to the security forces and the government to decide.
The high level of crime is not okay. We could do much, much more. We're doing well, but we could do much more. And so we want to arrest it and we want to get rid of it, because what it does is to damage our people. And our people are the essence of tourism. And if we are killing off our own people, we are killing off tourism.
The Haiti National Police has launched a probe into reports that criminals were fraudulently soliciting funds domestically and overseas on behalf of police. Director General of the National Police, Michel Angé Gideon, said the authorities had received information that people impersonating him were using social networks as well as threats to solicit money from people and providing account numbers for the deposits. He stressed that no mandate has been given to anyone to make requests on his behalf or in the name of the Haiti National Police. The police said some of the culprits have already been identified, and those who have fallen victim to the scam were urged to file a complaint with the relevant law enforcement agencies. Barbados says it has taken measures to manage and mitigate any potential risk to public health which could result from sewage overflows on the island's south coast. A team of consultants from Trinidad has arrived on the island to assist the Barbados Water Authority's wastewater division in preparing for the installation of a bypass in an effort to alleviate the overflow. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George says at this point in time, based on updates and information reaching the Ministry of Health as shared by the Barbados Water Authority, the likelihood of any outbreak of gastrointestinal disease is small. He says the risk could be further reduced by members of the public remaining extra vigilant and taking appropriate preventative measures, including basic hand hygiene. The Ministry of Health also says it has increased the number of environmental health officers assigned to the affected areas to monitor food handling practices of businesses and households. It is also continuously testing the potable water supply to make sure it remains safe. And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies lose ground in the test rankings. That story and more after the break.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
West Indies have taken another blow to their test ranking following their 2-0 series defeat to New Zealand. Though the Caribbean side remains 8th in the rankings, they have lost 3 points and are now alongside 9th-ranked Bangladesh on 72 points. Only decimal points have kept the Windies in 8th spot. The Windies have languished near the bottom of the international rankings in recent years as their results in the game's longest form continue to wane. The recent series defeat meant that they have now not won a series on New Zealand soil in 22 years and are without a series win over a high-ranked nation since they swept the Black Caps in the Caribbean 5 years ago. The West Indies beat Zimbabwe 1-0 in a 2-match series in Bulawayo last month, but dropped points as the African side are the lowest-ranked test-playing nation. West Indies have now won just 4 of their last 20 tests inside the last 2 years, but 3 of those have come over the last 3 months, including victories over then highly-ranked Pakistan and England. New Zealand captain Kane Williamson will be rested for the last 2 one-day internationals against West Indies, while George Walker will replace the injured Martin Guptill at the top of the order for the 3-match series started next Wednesday. Cricket New Zealand said Williamson would play the opening game in Warringah before giving way to Tom Latham, who will then lead the squad in the final matches in Christchurch. Guptill, who has hit 12 centuries in 149 ODIs, is yet to recover from a hamstring injury, and selectors have gone with Walker to partner Colin Munro. Seamer Tim Southey will also be rested for the last 2 matches. Neil Broom and Mitchell Santner will come in as replacements for Southey and Williamson. Meanwhile, all-rounder Todd Astle is set to make his ODI debut as part of the 13-man squad, having already played a couple of Tests and T20 internationals. New Zealand selector Gavin Larson said the 31-year-old has been deserving of his call-up. Staying with cricket, a superb knock of 45 from Kevin Gangadine was enough to crush St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Windward Islands Under-15 cricket tournament. GBN's Blossom Alexis Welch reports.
Kevin Gangadine performed with both bat and ball to help Grenada defeat host St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Winlot Windward Islands Under-15 cricket tournament. Playing in their second game of the competition, Grenada was in trouble at 76 runs for 5 wickets. Gangadine then teamed up with Jaheim Brafitt for Operation Rescue, which produced an 86-run partnership. Gangadine made 48 of Grenada's 183 runs, the highest team total of the tournament so far. He returned to take 5 wickets for 13 of 8 overs to help bowl out the host for a paltry 83 and give Grenada victory by 100 runs. Other notable bowlers were Marvin Carmichael, who took 2 for 14, Jaheim Brafitt 1 for 13, and Kelson Andrew 1 for 20. Grenada placed second in the tournament, which it hosted over the Easter period in April this year, and will be looking to return to the Spice Isle with the title. St. Lucia, meanwhile, is going for their 5th consecutive championship title and has so far won their 2 games this season.
Switching sport now, questions are being raised about whether former TNT football captain Kenwin Jones has indeed retired from the sport. TV6's Sergio Dufour explains.
In football terms, what does retirement imply? Well, there's some who would tell you there's a difference between retiring from international football as opposed to football on a whole. Retiring from international football implies that the individual has ruled himself out of playing for their country, while retiring from all football means that they no longer are interested in playing for club or country. Kenwin Jones, in a letter last month, said he was retiring from football. He stated, quote, "My decision to retire from playing has not been an easy one for me, but having thought about it at length and having discussed it with those closest to me, I believe that now is the right time to move on to the next chapter in my life and career." However, on Sunday, his former MLS club, Atlanta United, announced a trade involving Jones to another club, raising question marks by some football fans. Sporting Kansas City announced on Sunday that they acquired forward Kenwin Jones in the 2021 MLS Super Draft in a trade with Atlanta United FC. Does this mean that Jones will be playing football again for Kansas City? Not necessarily, since Atlanta United decided not to renew his deal and are selling the value of the remainder of his contract for a future draft pick. Following the transfer, Jones tweeted, quote, "categorically saying I am retired," end quote. TV6 also contacted Jones and he confirmed that he has indeed retired. The former national footballer also still has on his Facebook page that he is a former professional footballer.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
Again, the major developments of this day. Former Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Celeste Bird is bowing out of the political arena after 41 years and making way for his niece, who is now the wife of Prime Minister Gaston Brown. And in sport, West Indies take another blow to their test ranking following their 2-0 series defeat to New Zealand. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to ConneNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.